Okay, great. So we are live. Welcome back. Become Best Agents. This is Alan Kushmarkov, CEO of Best Homes Real Estate. And I am honored and super excited to welcome our next guest, an amazing realtor, only been in business for about 2 years, right, Logan? About
Yeah,
two
just
and a half
just over
years.
2 years. Yep.
2 years. Sold over $20 million in real estate in the last 22 years. I mean, there's some agent takes them about 20 years to sell $20 million in real estate. He did it in 2 years. And on pace, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I think this year you're probably going to do about what, 40 or so homes, 40 transactions, and about what, 18, $19 million in sales.
Yeah, it'll be something of that. Yep.
Okay. All right. So 2 years in business, guys. And if you don't mind sharing with us, Logan, how old are you?
I am 24 years old.
Man, I just wish to be your age, man. It's crazy. 24 years old, and this guy's probably going to make a couple of $100,000 this year, maybe even more. All right, awesome. So if you don't mind sharing this with our audience, Logan, kind of what got you into real estate, your journey, right, and sharing how you're generating business right now.
Yeah, nope. So I grew up in Northern California, and I would say as a kid, I was just always the type of just wanting to go after it. So I had my own little lawn mowing business growing up with one of my buddies, and I mean, we would literally door knock door to door, with lawns that had longer grass and like, hey, can we cut your lawn for 25 bucks? Yeah, sure, man, go do it. So, we did that from car washing to all types of things just growing up. And then I moved out here for college. So I graduated from Grand Canyon. Have all good things to say. Loved my 4 years there. And I guess one thing I miss is we had a really good broker friend in California that he does it all. He does the mortgage side of things. He's a broker, so he sells, he owns properties here, he has properties in California. But anyways, he kind of, I would say, encouraged me to get into the business. So I would say my junior summer was of college is when I decided, hey, I'm going to get into real estate after school. And so that's literally what I did. I graduated on, I think, a Friday and started, or Thursday or Friday, and started real estate class on the following Monday. And then here I am today.
So what were you studying for in college at GCU?
So I got my degree in business marketing.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
But you decided straight out of college to become a real estate agent.
Yeah. So when I started college, I started with a criminal justice degree, and I was actually thinking about becoming like a fish and game officer. In my first semester, I just found out that it wasn't for me. I wanted to work with people, and I wanted something with unlimited potential. So what I get in is what I get out of it. And so that's what kind of made me shift over to real estate. And I would say it's one of the best decisions I've definitely made.
Just out of curiosity, how did your parents react to it? Like, you went to 4 years GCU. I mean, it's an expensive school, right? And then after 4 years, like, I'm not really going to be utilizing my marketing degree. Like, I'm not gonna do the corporate thing. I'm just gonna become a real estate agent. Where the failure rate in our business, I think, is like after 2 years, like 80%, right? Like it's all commission based. What was their reaction?
Yeah, no, good question. You know what? I can tell you all my close friends, family, friends, everything. When I told everybody, hey, I'm going into real estate, that's what I'm going to do. And of course, you don't need a degree to go into real estate or anything like that. But everyone was super supportive and thought it was a great decision, and were probably more about it than I was at the time. Um, Everybody was literally like, Logan, I think that's actually what you're made to do. I mean, you're made to be in sales, you're made to be around people. I think it's a great career path. I think you should go after it. So that's what I did.
Awesome. So walk us through your first like 2 to 3 months in the business. Like you got your license, right? I believe that was back in June of 2019, right? So
Yep.
June, July, August, that 3 month, 4 month period, right before the end of the year. Kind of walk us back and kind of share what you were doing, what were your practices, your approach that you took to get your business off the ground.
Yeah, so I actually started more in August, I guess. I got my license in July, started in August. Um, can you guys hear that text going off on my? Maybe it's just mine. I don't know. And I went around. I interviewed about 5 brokerages, um, and I interviewed where I am now, Century 21 Northwest. I think on my second interview, and I interviewed with who now is my mentor, Logan Hall, who was definitely a big help in getting me going. Um, After the interview, I thought that was it. I thought, hey, this is my home. But I told Logan, and it's funny, we both have the same name. I told him, dude, I'm gonna go to these last 5 because I told myself I'm gonna go to all 5 and see, what's out there and in store for me. And he totally understood. And I did end up signing with Century 21. And then, my first couple of months in the business, you're just trying to learn. Like, there's so much different programs and uh, there's just so much to it. So the first couple of months, I would say I just try to go to the office almost every day. I'm asking all these agents in there different questions and just trying to get my feet wet, I guess. And in my first, so I didn't sell a house for actually 7 months. So my first 7 months, I went without a sale. And it was not from lack of trying. I probably was working just as hard back then as I am now. Um, Now, of course, I'm doing, more production, but I was doing all the same stuff I'm doing now, just, I guess, learning it. And I mean, with every phone call that I had, I was getting smarter and smarter and how to react to what people are saying and stuff like that. So, no, I mean, it was tough. And, I'd call my dad and be like, Dad, I'm frustrated. Like, this is really frustrating. I mean, I can, go back to serving tables and make good money doing that if I really want, or, go something else. But that's never how I am in anything I've ever done. I mean, um, not the best basketball player on the court, but I'm going to give 110%. And, everybody knows that. And so that's what I brought with me in my real estate game. And yeah, I got frustrated. I mean, it was, I had some stuff that was close too, that, coming to a close and whatnot. And it just didn't work out. Actually, when COVID first hit, so like, what was that, like March ish? I put 5 in escrow. I'd never sold a house. I put 5 homes in escrow, and I don't think I closed any of them actually. I might have closed one. And I mean, people lost their job. That lost a couple deals, and other things went other ways. And it was like, dude, really? Like, I haven't even sold a home yet. I sold probably 25 rentals, I'd say, in those first 7 months. So, I mean, it kept me afloat, I guess, or not
Yeah,
even really, but it kept me busy. And I have sold homes to some of those original rentals
yeah,
um, that I did do business with. But yeah, I mean, it was a grind for till I sold my first home in April of 2020, which
yeah.
is actually my roommate who this is the house I'm in right now.
No, man. I mean, your story's kind of similar. I mean, it took me about 6 months to get my first commission check, and I remember the first couple of months of doing this, I was like, well, "What the hell is going on here?" Like, I thought it would be so easy, and I was pretty much doing what you were doing. I was just calling expired listings, cancel listings for sell by owners, and I was just getting like my, oh man, it was tough. It was hard. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what I was saying. A lot of times, I was getting objections that I could easily right now just kind of like handle, but then it was like, man, I didn't know what to say, so. And I remember after about a month and a half or 2 months, I was actually seriously considering getting a part-time job, getting a part-time, maybe possibly a full-time job, because 3 kids under age of 5, my daycare bill alone was $2,100 a month, and then my mortgage was another $2,000 a month, and then 2 car payments was $1,000 a month. So without even food and clothes or anything like that, it was like $5,000 going out, and nothing is coming in. Nothing is coming in. So and during those times are the toughest times for all of us, right? And especially if you're a brand new agent and you're like, man, like, what's going on? How come nothing is clicking? Nothing is working? So like, mindset is very important during that time, right? How are you able to stay focused, right? How were you able to stay committed? How were you able to stay consistent in terms of like you said, you're working with the rental leads here and there, but I mean, there's not that much money there, right? I mean, like a couple of $100, if that. So like walk us through that stage, like when you're like for 7 months, we're not really making any money. Like, what were you doing in terms of, well, tell us about your day, like, kind of walk us through your day. Like, what were you doing every single day to get your business off the ground?
Yeah, no, I would say I really tried to, and right now I work from home, I work from the office, I work from wherever my day's going. But I would say in my first couple months, I really tried to get myself in the office every day, which kind of just forces you to work, I'd say. And then, I'm also listening to the person that might be an agent for 20 years in the office next to me, listening to their conversations they're having. And I'd sit in my mentor Logan's office and listen to him do his stuff for hours and hours. And um, I also did open houses. So right when they kind of, whatever you want to call it, they let you go. Like, hey, go do your thing after a month or whatever. I did 10 open houses, 10 weekends in a row. Some of those Saturday and Sunday. Which I've sold homes out of those original 10 open houses as well. But I just try to stay busy. That's all I really try to do. I just try to stay busy. So yeah, no, you go make a couple $100 on a rental. It's not, it is what it is, but I stay busy. So I was meeting people, and who knows who they know, and who knows where they may be in a year or whatever. So whatever I could do, I picked up as many. We have floor shifts. So you get 2 hours, you're on call.
Yeah.
You take all the calls that come into the office. I was doing those. I was doing my open houses. I was going out on Fridays, handing out flyers for the open houses and, inviting people, and just, I did anything I can do to stay busy where I wasn't just playing around on my phone and doing different stuff. So, um, I would say a little bit of everything. And that's one thing. I mean, like, just from seeing other agents in my office, I don't think I 100% model one of them. It's that I take the good things out of each and every one of them. And some of it I do is my own stuff, and some of it's stuff I've learned from other people. And some of it's kind of a combination, of just all of it together. And you got to do what works for you. So,
Yeah.
there's some agents that all their business comes from this one thing. And I wouldn't say mine's like that. I would say mine's pretty well even, where I'm getting stuff kind of from all over. And I would say that's kind of what you want,
Yeah.
in.
Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about your business and the lead sources for your business. So the first year in business, the bulk of your business came from where? Like you said, you had those 5 deals in escrow, right? Right before COVID. I mean, were they, word of mouth, sphere of influence? Were they rental leads? I mean, where were you getting those leads?
Yeah. So, um, my first year, I think I sold 23 homes, and more than half those deals were college related, GCU related. So whether it was literally a student coming right out of college and buying their first home, to one of their parents buying an investment property or something like that. Um, so and I wasn't the most popular kid or anything like that at GCU, but what I can say is I said hi to a lot of people and met a lot of people. And, of course, I've sold homes to my good friends, but I've sold homes to people I literally just would say hi to and just talk to every once in a while, and once they see that you're in the business and actually doing it, and then you sell a house to their friend, I mean, they're calling, me to do that. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean, I would just say my personal sphere at GCU was the biggest part of my business in my first real year, I guess, of business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean that's incredible. I mean, you would think that usually, the 23-year-olds are not going to be really ideal candidates to buy, but the fact that you closed half of your business last year from GCU buyers, and all of them are in their early 20s, right, or mid 20s, that's incredible. Like so, like aside from obviously nurturing those relationships and saying hi and just kind of being friendly and being nice to them, is there anything else that you did to let them know that, hey, you know what, I'm in business. I sell real estate. I help people, with their real estate needs. Did you do any type of promotions or marketing, Facebook, email, any of that stuff?
Yeah, so I pretty much reached out to, I wouldn't say everybody that I know, but I reached out to a good chunk of people. I'd say probably about 200 people. Um, and what I kind of told them is that, hey, I'm new to the business. I'm giving away a little gift, which is literally like a $5 Starbucks gift card, or I even did a bunch of like scratch offs, $5 scratch offs from the gas station and stuff. And all I said is, hey, basically, I want your email and phone number and address and your birthday. And just to kind of get my business going, I'm going to send you a $5 Starbucks gift card on your birthday. And then, of course, I put them into my CRMs, and now they're getting, holiday drip campaigns and different stuff like that. So they're just starting to see my face, a little bit more. And I would say that's a big part of my business is just like touching people, but not just one way. So it's not just like, all right, I met him at an open house. All right, I never see that person again. No, it's like I go as far as I don't even hardly ever carry business cards because I want your information because you're never gonna. I throw out business cards all the time, and yeah, you might get a call every once in a while, but I want your number because no,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna bug you, but I want to be able to reach out to you and oh, I see some cool article, so I email you this, of because they think home prices are gonna drop, so I email them something, and then I might comment on their Facebook post because I add them on Facebook. And, it's just like touching them from multiple different areas. And then, you know, hopefully I'm in one of the top when it does, come time to buy or sell or whatever.
Yeah.
They're one of the people that I think of. So,
Yeah. I mean, I remember with the business cards. I mean, when I was holding open houses, like I purposely would tell them that I ran out of business cards. So I was like, but we just to kind of text you my contact information. They're like, yeah, absolutely, great. What's your phone number? And now I got their phone number, right? Uh,
there you
just
go.
just like that. Or like for example, there are like digital business cards, right? Where the same thing. Hey, you know what? I got a digital card. Let me text that over to you. What's a good phone number for you? And boom, you got their phone number, right? I mean, sometimes it can be so easy, like just to get their phone number. The same thing with the email addresses.
Yeah.
So I like that technique. Absolutely. Like I'm the same way. I don't carry business cards with me. I really don't. And it's
Right.
just if I really want to get a hold of them, I will ask for their phone.
Yep. Oh, I'm with you
Yeah,
100%.
yeah, awesome, man. So half of your business last year came from GCU, right? And the other half came from what lead sources?
See, and this where it's a mixture of everything a little bit. I mean, I had a couple that were literally random phone calls into our office. I mean, I think one thing I tried to start doing is, and this was tough for me at the beginning, but was videos, um, like taking videos at my open houses. So I literally do like a minute video just walking through the house. And, when I first started them, I mean, they're kind of goofy. I mean, I'm like, oh, my buddy is going to make fun of me, or whatever. And, they joke around and stuff, but it's not, people actually kind of like it. I mean, it's kind of fun. And to me, it's not even the actual video half the time. It's just that I'm just putting something out there for people to see. So, and if you're kind of consistent with it, which sometimes I am, sometimes I'm not. I wish I was more consistent, but just people seeing you. I mean, um, I sold a house this year. I don't remember in my first year all of them, but like this year, I sold a house to my high school English teacher from California. She saw me on Facebook just because she sees I'm posting videos and doing stuff like that. And, I mean, that's so I don't know where the other half came from my first year, but it was just honestly a little bit of everything. A couple of those were open houses. Um, yeah, I mean, just a little bit of everything. There was also a lot of GCU, the parents too. I tried to get, any type of parents, involved in whatever. And so, and a couple of those I've sold 3, 4 homes to. So that's been a big part too, is I guess just meeting the right people and taking good care of them, and then they want to refer you to their friends and whatever. So
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's the key thing to remember is the fact that, a lot of folks out there, especially the ones that are following you or in your world, they're not thinking of selling or buying, right? Probably 80, 90% of them are not thinking about that. But the fact that you're actually, promoting and branding yourself through video, which is, I mean, video, even the average video is 10 times better than no video at all, right? That really kind of, like you're making those, deposits, if you will, or you're making those, like, hey, you know what, I'm a real estate agent and this is what I do for a living, right? And there eventually will reach out to you, like your teacher from California. It's just, I tell this to my agents all the time, like branding is your number one currency. You got to be constantly focusing on your brand, right? Even if you don't see any results initially, eventually it's going to start happening, right? There's a quote, there's a very popular quote is, professionals attract and amateurs chase. So you want to build the business where you're constantly attracting the right type of clients into your world, right? And the way to do that is through branding. The way to do that is through marketing. So that's great to see the fact that you're getting this again, first year and a half in business, you're already getting those type of leads or that type of a business. So let's talk about this year, right? I mean, you're double your production from last year, right?
yep.
Again, that's incredible. Like, and the reason I'm saying that is because that it's so hard to just sell 21 homes in the first year. Like in my first year in business, I sold 16, right? And it was difficult. I felt like I left a lot of business on the table, right? And then my thing was like at the end of the year, I was like, you know what? I'm going to double my production, which I did my second year. I sold 35 homes, but again, it was hard. It was difficult, right? So, in your situation, you're doing exactly the same thing. You're doubling your production from year over year, right? How are you achieving that? How are you doing that?
Yeah. Um, I mean, really, I think it's literally from day one because I'm still selling homes from even the initial conversations I had and just the follow up with all the people. Um, of course, my sphere has been a big influence on it of just the contacts around me, but um, I don't know. I mean, it's wild because I mean, I went from selling a few homes, and then at one point this year, I think I had 12 or 13 in escrow, and I'm running around, with my head cut off, like what, and one thing is I work primarily out of Phoenix, but I also do some work out of Tucson. So like I know one week I had all this stuff going on in Phoenix and I went down to Tucson and I put 4 homes in like 5 days under contract in Tucson and then ran back here and, um, but no, I mean, I don't think I have a secret, recipe to it or anything. I think, and I know what I tell people is my elevator pitch is that I am young and, people can see that, but I truly say this, and it's nothing against anyone else. It's just that I don't think there's any agent that can work harder than me in the valley. You can work just as hard as me, but I really don't think you can work any harder because with the stage of life that I'm in, I don't have any other obligations. I don't have any kids. I don't have a wife. Like real estate really is like my number one, or at least one of my number one priorities, and so my clients, they come before me. So if you want to go see stuff early in the morning, let's go. You want to see stuff late at night, let's go. And then like the paperwork stuff when I'm really busy. And right now I don't have an assistant. I probably should, and I'm somewhat looking for one. But like at night is when I'm doing all the paperwork. So, that stuff is, I kind of push later
Yeah.
of just tracking all that down. And then during the day, it's like all prospecting or just going out and doing it.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's not probably a,
Well, I mean that's your value proposition. Like, I'm going to be the hardest worker or the hardest realtor to work, for or with, and the fact that you're offering that, I mean, that's great. Like, so like you mentioned about follow up, right? Like, so do you? I mean, one thing that sometimes, and this is from my experience, when you have so many leads, right, in your pipeline, like the follow up can be. something that can be affected, right? So and things can fall through the cracks. So how do you do you have a system in place? Do you have a CRM in place? Like, how do you make sure that all of these people that you got in your pipeline, these buyers and sellers, like you're constantly, on top of their mind and you're constantly following up with them, making sure that they feel wanted.
Yeah. So the main CRM that I use now is HubSpot. So, and that's something they kind of taught me from the beginning is like, hey, try to put 2 new contacts into your CRM every single day. And I mean, if you do that, you're going to have, you know, uh, well, even if you put 1 a day, you're going to have 365 people in your database after a year.
Mm-hmm.
So like with my HubSpot CRM, uh, anyone that I get their email, phone number, whatever, I plug that into there. I put them on whatever campaign, you know, they're on it. And that's one thing that's nice. They've built these different campaigns for me at Century 21. But, you know, like you say, and I work with a lot of people. That's the one thing is like, I think a lot of agents throw away the 500 credit level people. I want to work with that person because they're going to be a buyer at some point. So, and that's one thing I'll say out of all my business, probably 85% is buyers. Um, I've, I've been on the selling side and I've sold, um, a few, probably 6 or 7, maybe on the selling side, but the rest are all buyers. Even when we had this crazy market that we're going up against 20, 25 offers, and whatnot. But, no, I plug everyone into that CRM. So now they're starting to get certain emails from me and, some of it's automated, some of it's not. Sometimes I go in there and check up on them. So that's the big thing is I make notes like, hey, this person's working on their credit. Let's follow up with them in 2 months. So I'll make a note in my calendar. It'll notify me, and then boom, here I am, contact them in 2 months. And, it's not like I've forgotten about that person because usually I have good enough notes where I look and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember talking to, Johnny about this and that and whatever. Um, but there's so many people like that I'm working with that taking good notes and put them in there is what really helps me because if you don't, I don't remember the conversation I had with someone 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So, and it's not to sound bad. It's just like, if you're going to do mass production, you're going to have to play the numbers game and, talk to as many people as you can, I think. So.
Absolutely. Yeah. Notes. You got to add notes. Right. I mean, there's no way we're going to remember those conversations a week from now, 2 weeks from now. Right. But the fact that you had that initial conversation and the fact that they shared with you their goals and their plans, and maybe they mentioned their husband's name or their dog's name or their children's ages, and you put that information in your database. Next time you follow up with them, Next time you follow up with them, hey, how's Johnny doing? How's Coco doing? The dog, whatever it is. They're like, oh, he actually remembers our conversation. And you just all you have to do is just put it in the notes. So it's interesting the fact that you mentioned that 75 or 80%, I think you said, of your business is buyers, right? Like buyers. And I know in this market in the last year and a half to 2 years, it's been a really, really tough time finding anything, for our buyers. I mean, there are offers left and right, overbidding left and right. So how are you able to, keep your buyers focused? How are you able to make sure that their offers are being accepted? Like there are agents that are getting discouraged, right? There are agents like, you know what, I'm working with 2 or 3, 4 buyers. Can I get them on the contract? I don't know what to do next. Like, if you don't mind sharing with the audience, what is your process? How do you get your buyers under contract?
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely, and a lot of the stuff people probably heard and whatnot, but I just try to use every single tool that I can. So anything that's going to better our situation, I will. So, my buyers, I have them write a letter to the seller. I have different things that I throw in there. I mean, in this market, I'm literally I'd say my number one thing that I can do is I'm not afraid to hop on the phone, talk to the listing agent. And the same thing, the type of conversation you're talking about, their dog or whatever. I'm trying to have that same conversation with that listing agent because now I'm trying to sell myself to that listing agent to basically, in a sense, tell me what's going on with the house. Tell me what your best offer is and see if we can beat it, you know? And if you can kind of build that trust and, you know, and it's not being fake. I mean, I'm being myself. It's just, I want to do my best for my client. And so it's like, hey, I flat out am asking like, hey, what's your best offer? And, you know, some of them might tell you and some of them, you know, might not, whatever. But, you know, and then there's a whole nother conversation of having with your clients like, hey, you're going to have to waive this appraisal if you want it. You know, well, what does that mean? Well, you know, there's a whole nother way of explaining that to your clients like, hey, you know, how badly do you want this house? And that's what I ask all my clients because I don't want to push them into anything that they're not comfortable with or anything like that. But hey, if this house is a 10 out of 10 and this is everything that you want, or even a 9 out of 10, this is probably the offer that we're going to need to have to come up with, you know, along with how great of people you are with your letter and whatever, everything else. But
Yeah. Yeah.
that's the conversation I have with them. And it's like, well, if, hey, it's like a 7, I like it, but I can see myself somewhere else as well. Hey, we'll make an offer like that. And just know, I don't think our chances are that great, you know? So I think it's really just figuring out the whole situation, seeing the best offer that you can put together of what your clients are comfortable with, and then, you know, presenting it in that way to the listing agent and to the seller. And I think it goes a long ways. I mean, um, yeah, I mean, there was a point when this market was the craziest where I was having more offers accepted, way more offers accepted than I wasn't, which isn't always the case. I've had buyers I've written 8 offers for too, and you know, we haven't gotten one accepted. But I don't know. I mean, it might be some luck, whatever. But there was a point there where I don't know. I was just going after it and just asking, and then, of course, if you're working with cash, that's a whole nother story because it's like, hey, if I'm cash, I just, you know, what's it gonna take? I mean, we'll do it. But
Yeah.
um,
So two things I'm getting out of this conversation is the fact that number one, setting the expectations with your buyers, right? Like, hey, how badly do you want this house? This may be a challenge. This may be a challenge, right? Like you're preparing the buyer for all outcomes, right? And then the second thing is like you're almost kind of like over communicating with the listing agents, right? Like, hey, what will it take to get this deal done, right? What are your sellers are looking for, right? How can we get in the mix of things, right? I mean, you're having those conversations with the listing agents versus just kind of like maybe having initial conversation. Is this house is available? Great. Are there any offers? Yeah, we have a couple of offers. Okay, can I send you an offer? Sure, you can, and that's pretty much it, right? So you're trying to kind of develop that rapport with the listing agent. Anything else that you do, like in terms of like you mentioned about the letters and everything like that, but do you get your lender involved, right? You know, do you have that in place, like having your lender call the listing agent, say, hey, you know what, the buyer's in, you know, excellent credit, you know, good to go, you know, we can close on time.
yeah, no, that's a great point. And I do that as well. So that's where I try to use every tool that you can. So yeah, the lender, I bring him in. Usually as soon as I send the offer, I try to have him call at some point after that, or at least once they've reviewed the offer and just basically talk up our buyer, you know, and say, and they are approved, but, you know, say how, whatever, you know, I mean, he does his thing and talks us up. And I mean, I've won deals off that. I've won deals off, you know, all kinds of things. I mean, you know, I remember one lady said, oh, this was so professional the way you handled it. I had such good talk with your lender. My people, they want to go with you guys, you know, boom. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's just using every strategy and tactic that you can to present yourself in the best way. And anything that you can do to help yourself, maybe it doesn't, sorry, the phone just flipped me off
That's
here.
fine, man.
Um, but yeah, I mean, just using everything that you can. I mean, maybe it doesn't help you at all, but putting yourself and doing things that can only help your clients and only help you. I mean, I think that's the best scenario, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. So going forward, right? I mean, you know, obviously you're doubling your production, right? What is your goal for 2022? We still got about 4 months left in this year, right? I mean, you're still going to be closing deals, but what are you doing in terms of planning, strategies? implementation for the next year?
So you're saying my goal for this calendar year to finish out?
Yeah, well, finishing
Or
out this year, and then what are your plans for next year, 2022?
yeah, I haven't even gotten quite that far, but no. Yeah, I mean this year, so um, I don't know exactly where it's at, but I think I'm around 35 homes sold and um, probably around 12-ish million in production. Um, I I would like to get close to 20, or somewhere around there in production. I know I can do it. I've slowed down a little bit compared to my beginning of the year, but I know I can do it. And then moving forward to next year, um, I mean, I don't think I can double that unless I had, some extra help. But that probably is one thing moving into next year. I think I will find hopefully a full-time assistant to be able to help me with some of this stuff. And no, I mean, I hope I can do it again and more. The following year, which it's possible. I know I can. Um, but yeah, it's tough too because I've set goals and then um, sometimes I meet them, sometimes I don't. So, you know, but I definitely think goals are a good thing to set and to go after it and do your best.
Well, let's talk about goals, right? I mean, do you set goals? Do you set goals like on a yearly basis? Do you set your goals on a quarterly basis, right? How do you go about setting goals? Like, I know there are folks out there that set goals once a year, right? And that's pretty much it. Like I set goals every 90 days, right? And there are times when I revise things and change things as we go. But like in your situation, do you set them every 90 days, every quarter, or do you kind of just do it in the beginning of the year or the end of the year and say, okay, these are my goals for next year?
Yeah. So as of right now, I've just set them for the year. So like my first year goal, I just want to sell 12 homes, one home a month. And then this year, I really truly didn't expect it to explode kind of how it did, but my goal is to sell 10 million in production.
You're
And
exceeded your
yeah,
goal.
yeah, definitely. So no, it's a blessing. But and then I also set other goals too, like not even just production goals, but hey, I want to have 2 open houses a month. I want to hold myself to that. Or I should have goals like, oh, I should be posting this much, and things like that. But I have put some of those into place, where, oh, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And I think if you stick to those things, I mean, yeah. And I probably should make goals every 90 days because look, I haven't made a new goal to be honest with you I made my goal this year. It's not like I'm stopping, but I haven't made a new one to go after. But I like that. Goals every 90 days.
Yeah, I mean, and the reason I do it every 2 days is because you know what? Like couple of things. Like number one, like you cannot really truly predict what's going to happen 12 months from now. There's so many ways you're going to get sidetracked, and there's so many things that are going to happen during that period of time. And then like for me, like I tend to procrastinate. So if I see something 12 months out or 11 months out, I was like, I got another 12 months to go. I got another 11 months to go.
All
Another
right.
10 months to go. So 90 days, it really kind of helps me to be like much more focused, right? Much more committed and consistent, and then again, things change, like my 90-day targets for last quarter are kind of somewhat different for this quarter, right? And I like to kind of have that flexibility and adjustment. I also keep my goals in several different locations. I have it right here, on my wall. I have it on my computer. I have it in my car. I also have it in my house. So it's constantly in front of me in my planner as well. It's constantly in front of me, right? And it's just a reminder that, hey, you know what? This is what you said you're going to do, right? These are your commitments. All right, let's go after them. So that helps me quite a bit. So like in your situation, you mentioned about getting an assistant. Like from my experience, my second year in business, I remember I sold 35 homes and I was running ragged. I was like working 80 hours a week. But I had 3 kids, right? So
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
and a wife, So in your situation, you don't have to worry about those things yet, right? But like I remember like sitting at 8 or 9 o'clock in the evening, man, and I was just doing paperwork, right? And sending things, for signatures and initials and communicating with the buyer's agent. I was like, man, this is not the way to live life. Like, this is crazy. I'm making good money, right? I have these big goals, and I'm like sitting here at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the evening doing the paperwork. This is crazy. So the best thing that I ever done is I hired an assistant. Now, the first two that I hired did not work out. The first one, she wanted to do it part-time. So my assumption was part-time was like 25 hours a week, but her thing was 5 hours a week. So that didn't work. The second one, she got bored, but every time we would hit a roadblock with the deal, or every time there was like a client that was not happy or anything like that, she would get emotional about it. So like, she would actually like cry. So I was like, man, I don't need that stuff. Like, I'm sorry, but like, like I'm a high D, high I myself, I need somebody who's going to be calm. Right. The third one, I mean, she really like changed my business. I mean, we went from 35 homes to 75 homes the next year without adding any additional lead source, just because the fact that 40 to 50% of the things that honestly I did not enjoy doing, she was handling that. She was handling that.
Nice.
So the best investment, I believe, is through people, right? There's a saying, your 100% profit is in people. Like, you got to leverage your business through people, right? And having an assistant, the right assistant, is going to definitely help you to take your business to the next level. And there's no reason why you cannot sell 60, 70, 80 homes next year with the proper help. Without investing a bunch of money in other marketing or anything like that.
No, I think you're right. And I think that's, because by yourself, you can only do so much. I mean, and nobody wants, like you're saying, and I mean, you had a whole different situation. You had 3 kids and a wife, but still nobody wants to be doing paperwork at 9, 10 o'clock at night. I mean, why? I mean, it's not fun. There's way more things I'd rather be doing than that. So, and it's not like someone else has, but no, I totally agree with you. I mean, I think if I am going to leverage my business and go after a 60, 70, 80 home year, I'm definitely going to have to find the right assistant.
Yeah, man. I mean, we as entrepreneurs, we're kind of constantly always thinking about how we can figure things out, how we can fix things, how we can achieve this, how do we handle this situation, or how do we complete this project. It's always about how we can do it, how I can do it, right? In turn, we got to be asking ourselves, who can help us with this project? Who can help us with this task? Who can help us with this paperwork, right? And amazingly, like, you will find somebody and you will be like, oh man, I cannot believe I have so much more time right now to focus on the business. Not being in the business constantly, not being in the weeds, but being, working on the business, right?
Well, and I think that's, for me, probably one of the hardest things is, like, when you have a bunch of deals going, of course, that has to be, you want to say it's your top priority because you got to bring those to a closing. You're working with these people. You got to do it. But then if that's your only focus, how's your next month look? Well, probably not very good if that was your only focus. So
Yep.
I think for me, really working those and keeping them, but then also staying consistent with the other things and the prospecting and things like that is what's going to keep, things kind of going. So like I see, I'm probably seeing it right now. Like I did a bunch of vacationing. I went to Cabo twice in 1 month. I went to the lake for a week, and and I'm still working during all those trips, and I'm still got deals going and stuff, but I wasn't really prospecting, I'm not really working new stuff. And then now here I am now, a month, 2 months later. Yeah, I still got stuff going, but I don't have the stuff that I had going because you know what, honestly, I wasn't putting in the time that I was.
Yeah.
So
yeah, same thing with me. That was exactly the same thing, right? My third year in business, right? But I had an assistant and everything like that, but I was still prospecting. I was still going on every appointment. I was showing homes to every single buyer. And for the most part, my business was sellers, right? I always worked with the sellers. Like, if you look at my production, 70% of my business coming from listings, not the buyers.
Even from the beginning?
From the beginning, I was focusing on the sellers because I knew I could have leveraged sellers or listings much better than I can do a buyer. Like, with the seller, more than half of the time, they're going to be also buyers. So that's 2 commission checks. With the seller, you're spending 9 or 10 hours from the beginning to the end. With the buyers, it's like 20, 30, 40, 50 hours, right? With the seller, you can hold open houses. You can put a sign outside. You're going to get some additional buyer leads out of that as well. So one listing can generate potentially 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 commission checks. On the listing side with the buyer, it's usually one. Sometimes they're going to be a seller, but most of the time it's just one, you know? So for me, I made that decision from day one. I'm going to be concentrating on the sellers. Now, I'm not saying that should be the case with every new agent.
Oh,
That's the
well,
decision.
yeah.
That's the decision that I made, right? But for me, like with the buyers, like my third year, like I was getting more and more buyer leads, right? And I was like, I was just again like so busy showing homes. I was like, man, I need help. I need help. And then we would take a vacation, and I come back, and there would be so much stuff that I got to take care of. Like again, it's like I need help. So I started with 2 showing assistants, and I was just paying them $25 a door, right? And that really, again, helped me, freed me up to focus more, again, on the listings, focus more on the marketing, where they can go out there and show homes on my behalf. And then I'm still representing those buyers. I'm still negotiating contracts, but it's so much less time spent with them because the bulk of your time is going out there and showing them homes. And if I can have a showing assistant who can show homes in Buckeye or Avondale or Goodyear or East Valley and don't have to worry about it, like, and I'm saving that 2 or 3 hours where I can concentrate more on the business side of it, that gave me like, like maybe I should start building a team. And that's how I started building a team where I was like, okay, I can leverage through these agents and have those agents going out there, working with my leads, showing homes, submitting offers, negotiating those offers, doing the inspections, doing the walkthroughs and closing deals without me doing any of that work. And I'm still getting 50% of the pie.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you've mastered it.
You
Seriously.
see?
I mean,
So that's the way you're going to be thinking about it. Wait until you get to about 40, 45, 50 deals. You're going to be like, now I need help. I need help.
oh, and so I've started, there are some agents in my office that I'll have them show homes for me because I mean, truly, like on a Saturday, you can't be 4 places at once. So if you got 4 active buyers that are all really hot, you can't be on the, I can't be out in Santan Valley at the same time I'm in Anthem.
Yeah.
So, you like the whole leveraging. I mean, you have to get help on those type of things. And yeah, I wish my business was more sellers. And that is one thing I am working at. I am trying to do more things to attract sellers and work with more sellers because, like you said, I mean, a buyer, 40, 50 hours, a seller, I mean,
Right now, especially, man, like you put
yeah,
it.
it's harder. Yeah, it might be. Yeah, I mean, some easier than others, some way harder than others. And
Yeah. Yeah.
um, no, I mean, that's a huge thing. It's just, I guess, for me, I didn't know anyone really moving here to Arizona, so the only people I met was college age, which those aren't sellers,
Are they going to be sellers? They're
but
going to be
they
sellers.
will be. Yeah. So, and I think my business will hopefully transition. Um, maybe in like 5 years to more so, I don't know where, but at some point those people are going to now be sellers. Hopefully I took a good enough care of them up front on the buying side and they're still, you know, with me. Cause that's what I guess I'm trying to do is just be the realtor for life. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
you know,
listen, you're here to stay and your business is going to continue to grow. Like, especially with those buyers that you helped out a year ago or year and a half ago, 2 years ago, right? Like some of them have about 15, 20, 30% of the equity already, so one thing that works for us, and I'll share it with you as well, is the fact that personalized video CMAs, and we just use a tool called Loom, LOOM.com. And we do a quick 4 or 5 minute video going into the MLS Monsoon portal and really kind of showing your past client, what's currently going on in the neighborhood, what's currently under contract, what has recently closed, for how much, and kind of letting you know how much equity they have gained, they have accrued in the last year, year and a half. You send that video to them, and we got a couple of listings out of it. I got a couple of listings out of it. One of my agents, Raul, got a few listings out of it. You'll be surprised. I mean, even the ones that you sold like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, not all of them are happy with their house. Not all of them are happy with their neighborhood. Some of them are thinking upgrading, maybe getting to something larger or bigger,
right.
So just reaching out to them, sending them those videos, you may get 1 or 2 really good seller leads out of.
Video. I think video is super powerful.
So that's something that you may want to do. But yeah, definitely listings. Listings. Another thing that really helped me out, but I started doing in my third year, end of my third year, is farming. Farming the neighborhood. So that's something that you may want to consider doing. You are generating quite a bit of revenue. You got to use some of the proceeds in marketing, right? In building your brand. And farming, I'm a huge proponent of it. I think that's something that every agent should be doing, right? Especially in their neighborhood or any, other neighborhoods in town, and start generating business that way as well.
Yep.
I interviewed a top producing agent a couple of weeks ago, and he's in the East Valley. He's in Gilbert. He's been farming for the last 4 or 5 years, and he's getting usually 1 to 2 listings every single month from his farm.
That's awesome.
So that's another thing that you may want to consider doing, and start shifting from buyers to the sellers.
Yep. No, and I have. So I've actually just kind of started a farm, and we're on our 3rd week of sending something. So, but yeah, no, I know how powerful the farm, and I know you're not going to see usually results, but like the guy you're talking about, I mean, he's in it 4 or 5 years and crushing.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing with the farm is that consistency, right? I mean, so like a lot of times we kind of tend to give up very quickly, very fast in anything in life. But like with farming, you got to be super, super consistent about it. You got to be patient about it, right? And also, frequency is very important. Like if you started doing a farm like in a neighborhood where they don't really know you, the first 10 to 12 weeks, you got to send something to them every single week.
Yeah.
Every single week.
So that's where I'm at. I'm on week 3. This will be the 3rd letter going out. So
continue doing it every single week, man. That's all you got to do.
That's what I've heard. So
all right, awesome, man. So I asked this question, right? And I asked this question every individual that I interview, like, if let's say you were to write a book, whether it's going to be a year from now or 5 years from now or 10 years from now, right? Say you write a book, right? What would be the title? What would be the title of that book?
Yeah, so this title's too long, but it would be something along these lines. But I think the title would be Hard Work Leads to Good Things. And so like what I mean with that, and I also think, and I'm not really talking karma, but I think good things happen to good people and those who work for it. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you set yourself up in the right situations, you do the right things, those things I think come back. And if you're working hard, I think good things happen to those people. Of course, bad things happen to those who work for it too. But, like with my business and your business too, 6-7 months, we didn't have a deal. But I know each of us both kept grinding and working hard. And eventually, we got to see the fruit, grow, and the good things came out of it. So that would be, I guess, the title of my book. And who knows where it'd go, but that would be, I guess, the summary of it.
Awesome, man. Well, listen, I appreciate your time. I enjoyed our conversation. Again, congratulations for everything that you accomplished so far. And I know you just scratching the surface, dude. I mean, there's like, you're 24 years old, you're doing $20 million in sales, and the sky is the limit for you. Wishing you nothing but the best, and if there's anything I can do, feel free to reach out, man. I'm always here for you.
No, thank you, Alan. I really appreciate you guys having me on here. Thank you, Tristan. And, it was a pleasure talking with you. I learned some stuff too. So it was great. And I appreciate you guys having me on here. I think it's an awesome thing you guys are doing.
All right, buddy. Well, thanks so much, and have a good one. All right.
Yep. You guys all have a blessed day. Thanks for having me.
Bye.